Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has just signed on to star in the upcoming book adaptation SEAL Team 666. Halfway through SEAL training, Cadet Jack Walker, still green but showing incredible promise, is whisked away to join 4 SEALs and their dog for a special ops mission. Walker soon finds himself in a whirlwind of otherworldly creatures and events as he discovers the true nature of SEAL Team 666. Battling demons, possessed humans, mass-murdering cults, and evil in its darkest and most ancient form, the members of SEAL Team 666 have their work cut out for them. And it's not long before they realize that the threat isn't directed against the U.S. alone. An ancient and deadly cult has far bigger plans, and Walker is at the center of a supernatural conflict in which the entire world is at stake.
So welcome to this video. My name is Alex. Now you're probably familiar with the saying, a wolf in sheep's clothing, which basically means that there's a dangerous threat which is hidden beneath a seemingly benevolent exterior. So the wolf obviously wants to kill the sheep, wants to eat the sheep, but he's hiding in a sheep's costume, or it's dressed like a sheep, got a sheep's skin on. So he looks benign and unthreatening, but really his intent is to kill the sheep. Now, imagine a flock of sheep. Imagine we were all a flock of sheep, for example. And some of the wolves are very obvious. Some of the wolves are not really in sheep's clothing, or some of them are in sheep's clothing but they're not hiding themselves very well. And those are the people we can see are involved in trying to manipulate the masses. Politicians are often very blatantly not disguising their wolfly intentions. However, what if the king of the wolves, the most threatening wolf, was so well disguised that nobody would even possibly consider that he was a wolf? He was so well disguised as a sheep. He seems so much like one of us, on our side, a good guy, friendly, peace-loving. No one would ever suspect he was this extremely dangerous and threatening creature who wanted to devour them. Well, this is what I'm trying to tell people about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He is, of course, as you've probably noticed, if you're aware of him, he has created this wonderful facade of being such a nice guy, a man of the people, a man who respects people, a man who's honourable, he cares, he's decent. So he's spent a long time, many years, constructing this facade of being one of us, of being a good guy. He's a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's not a wolf. He's very obviously a good guy because he appears to be a good guy. But wolves appear to be sheep until they rip off their sheep's clothing and start devouring people. And so my urgent warning that have been trying to get out on the internet for several years is that this man is the king of the wolves. He is what I call the Antichrist. He is this figure who will get into a position of huge power, the greatest position of power in the world, and he will have power in the United Nations. He will lead America. He will become the president of America, as I think is obvious to most of us, most Americans, that he is moving closer and closer and closer to eventually being the American president. I think it's obvious. If you look at all the propaganda in his program called Young Rock, where he's running for president in 2032, and there's a lot of propaganda. I'll put some videos. I'll put all the propaganda at the end of this video so you can see it all for yourself. It's plain and obvious, plain to see. So yes, this man is going to almost be the king of the sheep. He's going to be their leader. He's saying, "I'll be a great leader for us all. I'll be a noble and honourable leader, and I'll protect you from all the wolves out there." That's a great story, isn't it? Telling all the sheep that you're going to protect them from all the wolves when you're actually working with the wolves, and your plan is evil and dark. I don't know if anybody out there has ever read this book series, or maybe your kids have read it. It's called The Warrior Cats. It's fantastic. You've probably seen the TV program, or cartoons, but it's actually a fantastic book series about good and evil. And in the first series, there's this cat called Tiger Star, and everyone thinks he's a noble and honourable cat. He's very strong, very powerful. But there's one cat he doesn't like, and there's one cat who sees through him, and he tries to destroy that cat. He tries to kill it. He tries to do anything he can to get that cat out of the way, but he fails. And this cat eventually reveals him to the clan, to the Thunder Clan, who he's trying to become the leader of. He's trying to become the clan leader. And this cat reveals him, rips off his mask, so to speak, and everyone sees that he is this evil cat with evil intentions, bloodthirsty. That is exactly the situation with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He just wants to be in power. Once he's in power, that's it. That is it. No more Mr. Nice Guy, I assure you. You know, it says in the Bible when it talks about the Antichrist that he'll gain his position of power and he'll seem to be a good leader for a short period of time, just a short period of time, and then his true colours will be revealed and everyone will be devastated at having elected this person into power. They'll be feeling absolutely horrified that this man has power over their nation and possibly beyond, because I believe he will become the leader of the United Nations. I believe the Antichrist will lead the United Nations, because the United Nations, as I've mentioned in previous videos, is a Luciferian organisation with a Luciferian belief system, and they want Lucifer to lead them. And Lucifer, in the end times, Lucifer will be in the body of a human being. And I've made another video about this. This is why The Rock is making himself so powerful, because Lucifer is an angel, a very real angel, by the way. Lucifer is very real, and he's an angel. And if he's going to be in a human body, he's not going to choose some scrawny old wrinkly man. If Lucifer is going to be embodied on this planet, as he will during the end times, as is the plan anyway, then he is going to choose the finest, strongest specimen of a man, because he's an angel and he needs a powerful body, because he is a powerful angel. And that's why The Rock has created this incredible specimen of a body, because he is going to be housing the power of Lucifer. Now, you don't have to believe me, but this is what I've seen. Having studied and closely followed The Rock for several years, listened to his speeches, listened to what he's saying, seen all the propaganda, all the little hints dropped in his interviews, all the propaganda in his promo material and his programs and his films. Black Adam is the Antichrist story through and through, about this dark leader who protects his people, but he is ruthless to those who oppose him. So he'll protect the people that submit to him and that fall in line with his agenda, but the people who oppose him, people who want to stand up for truth and decency and honesty, they will be ruthlessly dealt with in the most cruel and brutal way possible. So Black Adam becomes the leader of the world, and that's the message. The metaphor of that film is a metaphor of the Antichrist, that he will become the leader. He'll become this ruthless, brutal leader that everyone will obey because they're terrified of him. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was always blurring the lines in all his interviews and all his Instagram videos. He's always blurring the lines between himself and Black Adam, because Black Adam is called the Man in Black. That's his nickname, the Man in Black. But Dwayne Johnson is always calling himself the Man in Black. He says, "I'm the Man in Black," or "We're the same person." From the Man in Black himself, he says, and he's always wearing black. Dwayne Johnson wears black in a lot of his interviews, and so he's blurring the lines between himself and Black Adam, so that he is seen as Black Adam. He is seen as this leader who no one will mess with, for absolute terror of the retribution they might face if they oppose him. And so this film is propaganda, Antichrist propaganda, for this dark reign that the Antichrist wants to have. You have to remember that in Nazi Germany in the 1930s, Hitler was very popular. People wanted him as their leader. Everyone liked him. Everyone thought this man would change things. He inspired passion. People wanted him to make the changes in Germany that they felt were needed. They wanted his strength. So he was popular, and of course when he got his power and he started decreeing that all the Jews should be killed and lots of other horrific stuff. It was too late. People were just powerless to do anything about it. And this is the case with the Antichrist. Hitler was a forerunner. Hitler's like a forerunner, a model, a blueprint for the Antichrist. The Antichrist will be worse. The Antichrist's oppression and cruelty will span the globe. And who will be the enemy? Well, he's the Antichrist. He is anti-Christ. He is anti-Christians. Hitler persecuted the Jews. The Antichrist will persecute the Christians. He will turn everyone against the Christians. He will make the Christians the most hated people among his followers. All the followers of the Antichrist will believe what he says. They'll be stirred up into anger. They'll be stirred up into hatred. They'll be stirred up into resentment of the Christians who are homophobic and who are transphobic and who are anti all the things, anti-freedom. The Christians are being painted as anti-freedom. You know, this new society where anything goes and everything's cool and everything's okay. You know, no rules, man. Just do what you feel. That's what, you know, it's the satanic law. Do what thou wilt is the letter of the law. And so this satanic society, or not satanic society, but this society where everything goes, and then the leader of these people, the leader of the people who want that, who want anything to be okay, paedophilia, you know, homosexual, paedophilia, abuse, oppression of those who are seen to be the bad guys. In a society like that, we'll have a leader who will inspire anger and hatred in the people who are paedophilia and so on and so forth. Then the people who want that society, the people who want this anything goes society, are going to be encouraged to hate those who stand against it, who want to live in a society where there are moral boundaries, moral guidelines, where you don't cross these guidelines, where it's not okay to do certain things, it's not okay. And so the lines are being very much blurred now in terms of, under the guise of political correctness. As you're probably aware, the boundaries are being blurred, where slowly, more and more things are becoming permissive, to the point where in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, then under certain conditions, paedophilia will be deemed okay if the child isn't really a boy or isn't really a girl, or, you know, with sexual identity, gender being blurred, gender identity being blurred. There will be conditions in the future where paedophilia is okay. That will be the society we end up living in. If we don't stand strong and if we don't oppose these kind of slow blurring of the lines to allow these kind of perversions to become mainstream practices or mainstream desires, you know. So the idea is to proliferate these desires for perverse things, proliferate those desires, make people want perversity. You know, corrupt the human spirit, corrupt the human heart, so that it desires perversity. Put it on all the screens, put it in all the books, put it in all the magazines, put it in all the video games. Corrupt the young people, make them desire what is impure, and then you will weaken them. And then you can control them and make them hate the people who want a pure society. I don't mean pure as in terms of Hitler and the Aryan race. I mean pure in terms of what is allowed, what kind of things we all stand for, what kind of behaviour is okay. So those will be the people who are persecuted. The idea for the Antichrist is to persecute the Christians, because that's who the Antichrist hates. He hates God. Lucifer hates God, Lucifer hates Christ, and Lucifer hates anybody who follows God or Christ. He hates purity. Lucifer hates purity. And that's why he hates the people who follow Christ, because they are aiming to be purer people. Their intention is to allow the purity of Christ to make them pure, make their hearts pure. And we should all be doing this. We should all be wanting to be purer individuals, have a purer heart, so that we love more and we judge less. We give more and we take less. We understand more and we criticize less. We're all on the journey to having a purer heart, and that's what makes society better. When we all decide to choose a purer heart over the pleasures and the desires and the selfish gratifications that are everywhere, that society is putting on a plate for us, saying, hey, this is okay, everybody's doing it, so why don't you do it? Why don't you watch this? Because, hey, everyone's doing it. Now it's mainstream. It's okay. Why don't you just indulge yourself in this? Because, hey, maybe all that God stuff isn't real. All that hell and, rapture stuff, maybe that's not real. So you can just enjoy indulging your senses. We say it's okay. Society's permitting it now. It's permissible now. We've changed the rules of society. So why don't you just indulge yourself in all this, base carnal satisfaction? And that's what people are being invited to do, with the media dropping the standards to such a low degree that anything goes, any debased perversity is okay now. And we watch TV programs with it on. Extreme violence, extreme blood, extreme debauchery, extreme, sexual imagery, or anything goes. There's no rules. Anything can be shown on the screen now. Extreme horror, extreme cruelty. So this is why the Antichrist will oppose the Christians, because they will stand in opposition to him. They don't want that society. They don't want this debauched society. They want a society where there is more of a moral framework that encourages the young people to keep control of to stay within these lines that keep us as a moral species, keep us honest, keep us honourable, faithful, loyal, decent. So the Antichrist regime will be to persecute the Christians, and it will turn the Christians into the enemy. The Antichrist will convince all his followers that the Christians are the enemy, because they are opposed to this free society that the Antichrist will say is utopia. It's our destination utopia. So that's going on right now. I'm sure you're aware of it. But what most people aren't aware of is that this wolf, this king wolf in the sheep's clothing, is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I guarantee you, absolutely guarantee it, not a shadow of a doubt, because I've been studying him for so long, and I've seen all the clever messages, the clever subliminal messages in his talks. I've seen the kind of the dog whistles, as they're called. I've seen the language, I've seen the propaganda. I know this without a shadow of a doubt. There are decoys. There are decoy antichrists as well, like Obama. He's a decoy antichrist, because they don't want you to know who the real antichrist is, because they don't want anyone pointing at him and saying, wolf, 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 like I'm doing. They want everyone saying, noble leader, lead us to the promised land. And I'm here pointing my finger, saying, watch out for the king wolf, because he wants to devour you all and ruin this flock, ruin it, turn it into a bloodshed, a bloodbath. So, hey, are you paying attention? Because this isn't a joke. This isn't just some wild theory or fantasy. This is the truth. This is the truth. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is the man who is taking the role, who has been prepared for the role of the Antichrist. And you should be very concerned that he is becoming more and more and more popular. You should be concerned that people are wanting him to be their president, because this man's intention is very dark. And he is the figurehead of the satanic agenda, which will turn our society upside down and make it a very dark place indeed. So let's do something about it. Please consider what I'm saying here. Investigate him, analyze him, see, is he telling the truth? Is he a liar? Is he a politician? Is he just saying the right things to become popular? Does he just want to be Mr. Likeable, Mr. Nice, so he can get the power he craves? Because I know he is. I know he will. I know he wants to. So please keep an open mind, because I might be right. Sounds far-fetched. The nicest man, the most popular man in Hollywood, perhaps one of the most popular men in the world, could be the Antichrist? How could it be? Surely a bad guy, surely someone who's obviously a wolf will be the Antichrist. No. All these politicians, they're obviously wolves. Obama, Macron, Tony Blair, Donald Trump, whatever, how many politicians you can name, they're obviously wolves. The Antichrist will not be an obvious wolf. He'll be a noble leader dressed as a sheep who will talk about freedom. He'll talk about a better world. He'll talk about changing everything for the better. Equality. Standing up for the small people. Championing the underdog and blah, 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 blah. He'll say all the right things because he's a politician and he wants to be the most popular man on the planet. He wants you behind him. Please do not get behind this man. He is a liar. He's a deceiver. He is the Antichrist, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, here's some evidence. Look at this video because this is a little excerpt of the visual evidence of that I've studied over the years, and that just kind of gives away who he really is. Few little dropped hints here and there. He can't help it. The bad guys can't help showing off, dropping little clues here and there because they're so arrogant. They think that people won't notice, or they think that they can get away with it, but they just love to give a little glimpse now and then when no one's really paying attention. Well, I've been paying attention, so here are some of those glimpses.
Hail Satan! Hail Satan! Hail Satan! And for the most evil invention in the world contest, I invented a child molesting robot. It's a robot that is designed to molest children. And it can, theoretically, molest twice as many children as a human molester in, quite frankly, half the time. What you do is you start by building a regular robot, then you molest it and hope that it continues the cycle.
The media is being harnessed to promote interest in the darkness, interest in the occult, interest in Satanism. And it's because of the Antichrist agenda. The Antichrist is building his army. The Antichrist is building his army of young people, just like Hitler did, who will follow him and who will listen to him and who will think, yeah, I like your message. I believe in your message. Because his message is going to become quite dark. So I'll explain the psychology of the Antichrist himself and how he's going to operate. So basically, in the Bible, I mean, I'm not an expert on the Antichrist from the Bible. I'm an expert, you would say, on how it's unfolding in our society and how the media is being used and the psychology that's being implemented in society to get people ready for this Antichrist agenda. You could call it the New World Order, by the way. Some people call it the New World Order. It's like global communism, Brave New World, or 1984. All of this kind of dark vision of society, that's the Antichrist agenda. That's the agenda, that's the world that the Antichrist, or the satanic agenda, wants us to live in. And it wants us to live in there, and it's doing everything it can to shepherd society in that direction. And the Antichrist, as an individual, as a human being, is key to leading everyone into this agenda and getting everyone behind him. Because then when everyone supports him, when everyone's behind him, just like when everyone got behind Hitler, you have to understand, everyone thought, yes, this man is going to bring change to our nation. This man is the way forward. This man is going to lead us into a new era. Okay, so everyone was behind him and everyone followed his orders. And then suddenly everyone realized, oh my goodness, he's killing millions of Jews. And then it was too late. And then they were in the system. It was firmly established in the German society. There was no escape. This man was in control and there was no escape. And so it's just the same with the Antichrist. Hitler's like a blueprint for the Antichrist, that he is going to get everyone behind him. Everyone's going to say, this man is great. I love this guy. He's so kind. He's so caring. He's so charismatic. He's going to lead us forward into this new era of peace, a new era of compassion, a new era of tolerance and equality. These are all the buzzwords he'll use. Tolerance, inclusivity, equality. And this man is going to inspire everybody. And he is already inspiring everybody. And I'll tell you in just a moment, the exact identity of this man, because this man is one of the most popular actors on the planet, one of the most popular human beings on this planet. This man is currently doing what Hitler was doing in the 1930s. He is selling himself as a man of the people, a man who cares, a man who stands for equality, a man who stands for compassion, a man who cares about everybody, a man who will lead society into a new era of peace. Now, these are the messages he's putting out, and this is his kind of promise. This is what he's going to be promising people, and what he is promising people. And of course, it sounds good to everyone, because everybody wants to believe that someone will save our society. When people are seeing what's happening with the pandemic and with the creeping in of communism or socialism and the loss of freedom and the rioting in America, everyone is thinking, oh my goodness, where is this all going? Where is this going to lead us? We need a savior. We need someone to stand up and lead this world in compassion and love, who's going to solve our problems, who's going to get rid of all the hatred and get rid of all the negativity. And so there's this great thirst now, just as there was in Nazi Germany, there's this great thirst, and the thirst is increasing. And it's going to increase more and more. So there's this great hunger for a new leader to emerge and lead the nation, and not only the American nation, because he's an American man, but lead the world into this new era of hope and optimism and tolerance and inclusivity and compassion.
Where are you? Where is our leader? Where are you? Where is our compassionate leader? I care about you. I am listening to you. This is our country. You are all my people. And I take full responsibility and full accountability for something that has been hundreds of years of systemic disease. Why am I taking full accountability? Because I am your leader. I'm your leader, and I'm going to do everything I can to make this right. And I'll tell you what, you give me some trust, you give me some time, you give me some effort, you give me some love. I'm right there with you, and together we're going to make this right. Together we're going to create that change. Together we're going to normalize equality. We're going to do it, but we're going to do it together.